goes.
Search together.
Search together. IPSA. We're not just a name in a directory. Local minds with national synergy. Welcome, bienvenue. Welcome to you all. I'm so glad you could make it. If you haven't noticed them before, I have the incomparable Hamish McClay of Search Convey, our Lord and Master, helped set me up in the first place. And of course, Jackie Dyson, friend of the show, long-time campaigner on behalf of IPSA, which of course is the Association of Independent Personal Search Agents, people who give you a personal search, not one that's just done via numbers, hand crank, and machine. They actually go a bit further to make sure that you get the very best and the most relevant search. You get all the information. You get the information that helps you make the right decision. And that's not true of all search agencies out there. We're not naming any, but there are differences. And this whole channel is not just to extol the virtues of the IPSA, or the Independent Personal Search Agents, but also to talk about stories and how things are moving on. And today, the topic is wisdom in the room, passing the torch. Hamish, would you care to get us going?
Well, that's why we have Jackie here, because she's the wisdom in the room, or much of it, I should say. We're very, very sort of fortunate within our organisation to hold a number of people who have vast levels of experience over goodness knows how many years. And one of the things Jackie actually spoke about was, right, she says, I'm retiring. So she passed on her search business. And then she was talked into it, was some advice given actually by one of the people that we do an awful lot of work with, the Property Search Compliance Board. One of that particular team said, well, why don't you actually sort of use that knowledge that you've actually sort of gained? Because goodness knows, Jackie has gained so much knowledge over the years. She fortunately came into the business with a tremendous amount of knowledge. And I'm fortunate to be put within that business where she's able to pass that information back. And she helps out with training. She's helped to write the training. She helps to guide people through here and join IPSA. So all that knowledge has been... Now, when I actually sort of entered into one of this field of sort of the search industry, I think it was 2/3 of a day or some kind of webinar or something I attended. I thought there I was set up. And of course, I knew next to nothing. And what it has actually sort of become is a learning curve over the years. There are still the occasional curveballs, interestingly enough. And it's not necessarily with items that are new, they're items that have been there historically for a long, long time, but we just come across them. And one of the great things is the way we in IPSA, we use things like the Members' Day. We will pass on information on that particular side of things. There are changes afoot, so we pass that information on to the live team, those that are out there still sort of working at it. And we do have one or two younger people actually sort of coming through. Not as many as either Jackie or I would like to see, or Heather for that matter. It would be great to see more people coming in. However, because it's a niche sort of a niche part of a particular industry, people aren't particularly that much aware of it. But it's the learning that goes on beyond your arrival that makes a significant difference and makes us able to be what we are to the search industry.
Welcome to the show, Jackie. I know you've been involved in IPSA and in searching since just after the Earth cooled. However,
cheeky.
Forgive me, Jackie. I know it for quite some time. I'll get away with that. I think I'm checking tomorrow for a horse's head on the pillow beside me. Anyway, moving on. But anyone can serve a tennis ball to some extent. Very few people can score a point. and I liken searching to that. A few people can type in and say, tell me about this property, but to dig in and to know the signs and to know the relevance to that locality, that takes what, years of both learning and experience. And it's something you can't really get without having done it, right?
Yes, certainly. It's I suppose it's like any job, really. You know, I mean, we've been hearing recently it's people can't get jobs because they lack of experience, and then they say, well, I need the job to get the experience.
Yes, that ultra.
And that's what it is. And as Hamish says, it is a niche business. Until people come to move house, very few people know what a local authority search is or a personal search is. I certainly didn't know the first time I bought a house. I had no idea what they were. I had no idea what they were when I went to work in the department. So, you know, I mean, I went for the interview and they asked me, did I know about it? And the answer was no, I haven't a clue. How I got the job, I don't know. But I soon learned how important the local authority search was. Back in those days, there was very, very few personal search companies, and through one thing or another, I set up my own, as you know, in '94. But it's like anything. It's you are possibly born to do that job. My husband was a policeman for 30 years. He could never be a fireman because he'd be running away from the fire where the fireman is going into it. And it's true. I have one daughter that's a nurse and one daughter that's a social worker. One's a paediatric nurse. How she does it, I have no idea, but she loves it. She thrives on it. She was born to do it. The other one is a social worker dealing with child protection. She loves it.
Oh, God.
She's run ragged, you know, but I would never have picked her to be a social worker, in prison possibly when she was a teenager. But you just never know. I happened to fall on something that I found quite easy to learn, really. It is very similar to being a detective, but you've got to have that certain brain that when something is wrong, it clicks. And trying to pass that on to someone is quite difficult. It's something you pick up with experience, and unless people know about the actual career, then it's not something they're going to choose, because there's no course out there to go and study at university for 3 years or whatever, etc. Even those that study law, they will only touch on conveyancing and searches, you know, just in this much of that much. So it is very niche. And again, as you say, it's passing on, but it's having that passion to make sure that what information you do give to your client is 100% correct. And you've done everything in your power to make sure that that is correct. And the one thing you learn to do is you do the search, you check it, you double check it, and then there's still that niggle at the back of your mind, and you think, I'm going to go back again before I send these results through. And sometimes, I mean, a lot of the times there is nothing wrong. It's just, you just get this feeling. If it's a basic, straightforward search, yeah, it's okay. But with new developments, you get so much information that sometimes you look at something and think, that's not right. That shouldn't be there. Or that should be there and it isn't. So it's, I don't know. It's, you know, like these murder cases we see on television, all of a sudden it clicks. And they know who the murderer is. Death in Paradise, and they know how they've done it.
So
yeah.
A follow-up role for you as a murder detective then?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But joking aside, the game has changed over the years.
Oh yes.
And even though they brought in levels of digitization, there's still a requirement for local knowledge, isn't there?
Yes, there definitely is. There's a requirement for local knowledge in most things, to be honest. I mean, like your environmental searches are done on local knowledge. Your water searches are done on local knowledge. you know, your chancel searches are done on local knowledge. It is knowing your area. I mean, my area was West Yorkshire. I became, you know, knew how the systems worked. I knew the land charges staff. In fact, I've had contact with Mary at Kirklees Land Charges this morning. She sent me an email and I messaged her back and said, I've retired. Can you please take me off? And she said, yes, I just forgot. She's that many to send out. I've known Mary from, I think, from day one doing searches at Kirklees. She was there then. She's now in charge. It's that is being lost with the introduction of everything being online. You know, I mean, Gareth that worked at Leeds, I don't know if he's still there, whether he's retired. Mind you, he's a bit young. So unfortunately, with the introduction of everything online and digitized, and you can look at it, you lose that communication and rapport with the council workers that we used to know really, really well. And it's getting to know the system. So I can go on to Kirklees today and know how to work that system, but I couldn't go on to Welling and Hatfield Council and know exactly how to use it. I would probably sit there all day trying to get used to just one council. So like up here, East Riding was one that was chopped and changed and everything was done. So like Fiona and Nicola in North Yorkshire, they are the ones that went nearly every week, every day. So they knew. So there's no point in me trying to negotiate their systems when they know how to do it far, far better than me. And it is local knowledge. You can't beat that. It's also gut instinct. I don't know what it is. It's just something you have, but it's the passion to make sure that your client gets the best service, and the person who is investing the money into the biggest purchase of their life has got all the necessary information to make a good decision. So yeah, passing on that knowledge is not easy.
And how important do you think Members' Day is to that process?
Well, I think it's brilliant because, and then unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't come, and they should do, because, as I've said many times before, I'll speak to a search agent from a different area, and you get to know them, and you chat to them, and you think, well, I trust you, so you will pass their searches, your searches that you have for that area, on to them. But also, it's keeping up with the information, and things are changing rapidly at the moment, very rapidly, for the good, I hope, because I know my grandson and his girlfriend have been toing and froing with the house. They hopefully move in on the 21st of next month, but the process has taken 4 months, and this is for one house purchase. Now, why is it taking that long? So we're hoping, everybody's hoping, that things that are being introduced will speed up the process of buying a house. And the stress must be horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And I'm glad it's not me.
Yes, well, quite so. Hamish, over the time since you've been involved in IPSA, there have been peaks and troughs in support by local governments, unitary, things being pulled together into one, a reduction in staff. It's never a dull day.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is one of the things, and it is, allegedly, there is not a necessity for continual professional development, the old CPD lark. But that is something which takes place almost, it's sort of almost sort of drip fed through our sort of communications, who we work with.
Right.
Because of particularly our partners as well. They keep us up to speed because they have webinars and things like that. And I found myself, and it came just before lockdown, strangely enough. And I thought, well, let's start looking a little further than this, because I was told in something like 2014 by a wonderful owner of a wonderful company that is no longer with us, Oh, he is. I don't know what the heck he's doing, but I was told that, well, really, searches don't count for that much anyway.
Oh,
And I thought, oh yeah, okay. Well done, David. You carry on doing what you're doing, and I'll carry on doing what I'm doing.
absolutely.
Well, David isn't any longer doing the work that he was doing, but I'm still doing the work that I'm doing, sort of some 14, 15 years later now, isn't it? But what it is, the importance of what we do is becoming more and more relevant as well, because there's a change in focus now, because it's part of a lot of the information that we gain is really very, very beneficial to a seller putting their house onto the market, so we can help support the seller through the estate agent and whoever, because we can get the information right there at the very start. And it's a topic that sort of came up in yesterday's conversation. It's that informed decision. So if we're passing information on, we can pass it on the same way as we are doing. However, AI can actually gather the information and put it in different, but we need to have that information and the accurate, refined information before you can put it elsewhere. So really, there's an ongoing need for local authorities, specialists within the sort of different sort of council areas, because it's only by sort of doing that do you get the right data to actually sort of go into the appropriate sort of places. And this is why we say, I mean, AI and software and goodness knows all these IT things, which seems to get the better of me, they're absolutely vital to what's going on, and they will help things. But as Jackie was suggesting there, they haven't helped that procedure over much. You use it the right way with the right people, and what a significant difference it makes.
But it's about seeing AI as a tool and nothing more. I think it's not a replacement for a person. It just makes the people that are there more efficient and able to focus on stuff that AI can't do, which is the interpersonal skills. And that's what you do, Jack, is spotting.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, you're saying that when we were down at the Members' Day, I was having a good chat with Val Bennett. I mean, she's as much knowledge as me. She's been in the game just as long as I have, doing searches. And she was saying she'd had to use AI for a certain reason. I won't go into what it was. And she said you have to be so careful how you actually word things. She said otherwise they pull in things that you don't need, or they go about it the wrong way, and it's the grasp of the English language or whatever language. I mean, because there's a lot of countries that speak English but don't, if you know what I mean. So she said you have to be so specific as to the instructions you give the AI. I mean, I've never used it. I have got a clue, and I don't want to either. So she said you have to be very, very careful. Otherwise, it pulls in information that you don't need. And therefore, you still have to say, if it does that, say, can you tell me the information of 23 Smith Street? And it might pull information in from the whole street. You don't know. Does it take 23 as number 23 or 23 houses in Smith Street and pulls in all the information? So I know with AI, you've got to be extremely specific, and Val was explaining that, and I was gobsmacked when she told me. So
I think you have to treat it like a 10-year-old child who has no real knowledge about what it is you're going to ask them pre-ahead, and words become exceptionally important. You can't assume that they understand idiomatic translation. You can't assume that they understand vernacular or localization or localized verbiage. You've got to almost go lowest common denominator and explain every phrase exactly what it means. However, as Hamish says, if you do that and you put the effort in and you put in magic phrases such as, and show me where these results come from, then you're golden. But you really do have to put that care in. And I think you'd agree with me, Hamish. A lot of people aren't doing all that. They're doing some of that. And so they get a much bigger smorgasbord of everything.
I think the challenge is, as a consequence of doing that, and I mean, it's good that Jackie's pointed that one out. because it's an obvious one, you know. However, it's not something that's obvious necessary to people, because they think, oh, well, this is dead easy. You press the buttons, you get. Well, you don't get the answer. You get a lot of answers.
Yes.
It's like multiple choice. You get all the answers.
Within which hidden is the answer you wanted.
And it's back to that refinement exercise that you need to carry out. Even when you get AI getting close to what you want, you still got to work with it to identify, is this fully what I want? And what the heck's it done with the building regulations? It hasn't dragged the building regulations through from this planning permission. So you've got to go, because the software can't cope with that. AI can't quite cope with that yet. Well, and yet they're saying, 2050, they'll be able to do it. But there's a lot of room between now and 2050. And there's a lot of people out there doing the kind of work that we're doing. There's not enough of us, to be quite honest, because there's room for an awful lot more that work locally. And this is a tremendous opportunity. And this is one of the great things as well that we've found speaking to our IPSA members. And it's been great over the last sort of couple of months, particularly speaking to people about how they got into the search industry. I mean, Jackie was included in that. But of course, it's what we also gain from what we're gaining ourselves, because it makes us, it really is a professional. You can go about it in a tremendously professional way, but you can go about it in an ad hoc way. And you can get away with it in an ad hoc way for a time period.
Yes.
We're going to have masses of things actually sort of coming through, as has been shown that a couple of, I mean, we haven't actually sort of seen it from our perspective yet, but we have actually seen a couple of solicitors struck off because they've been citing information that AI made up for them. So you need to actually sort of check that out. And as Jackie sort of, I think it was you that mentioned actually, Gareth, it tells you where it's come from. Because the parts, when I've used AI, I say, where did you get this? Can you validate that information?
Exactly.
And it says, oh, no, sorry, Hamish. It's calling me Hamish now. It's no, sorry, Hamish. I can't validate that one.
Jackie, Hamish is on first name terms with a machine now, you see.
No, I'll stick with humans.
Oh, there you go, Jackie. Does not compute. All right, thank you very much indeed. As ever, very entertaining and very, very useful information. Salient and sage words of wisdom there from Jackie. You don't necessarily need or require AI. It can be brilliant, but you have to drive it as you would a very complicated bus. If you don't know where the turn signals are or how to use a steering wheel, you're going to end up in a wall. So please drive the thing. Don't let it drive you. Hamish, once again, superb. Thank you, everyone. Oh, I see you've been flooding in and flooding out. So if you watch this on catch up, which I know the vast majority of you do, go back to the YouTube channel, which is called Spilling the Proper Tea, and you can see all the previous IPSA kind of magics. We've covered all sorts of stuff, and you might get to hear, if you're lucky, some of Jackie's stories. They're quite hair-raising, and for somebody who goes to my barber, you can find that quite a challenge. Until next week, please remember to stay hydrated in these ridiculous temperatures. We're not really set up for it, and wear sunscreen, and look after your mental health. Bye-bye now.
Local skill, national connection. Independent, but never alone. IPSA, where your professional home.